started. Okay, well, welcome to tonight's workshop. I am so excited that you are here, and congratulations to you that you decided tonight was the time that it was important to you to take this time because I know we have so many things vying for our attention and our time. And you decided that tonight was important to come, or this morning was important for you to come and just be here for this hour for you and for your health. So, like I used to teach my kids in school, give yourself a pat on the back that you are here and you are about to learn how to own your energy through the holidays. This is going to be a highly interactive workshop style. This is not your standard training where you just listen and absorb information. This is going to be something completely different. We are here to workshop together so that you can learn not only how to own your energy and reduce your stress through this busy and often chaotic holiday season, but you're going to walk away with tools to actually do that and walk that out in real time. So I absolutely love workshopping with my clients. They love it too because they are getting things done and they walk out with a focus. So who here loves workshopping? Like, I just love it. Yeah. You've never done it. Okay, well, good. You are in for a treat tonight. This is going to be great. So you can, there's a chat button down there too. So you can type in anytime you feel like saying something or anytime you want to just participate. But you are going to learn how to really how you can care for yourself well. But this is going to be simple, sustainable, and doable foundational focuses to help you stress less. Hello, we all want that. So that you can truly enjoy this busy holiday season with energy, so much energy that your family will notice. Now, this is not going to be like the easy button, Energizer Bunny type of energy that is basically fake, right? Like one that we get from like an energy drink or something that's not really sustainable. But this is going to be practical and tactical. You will know the three steps to help you own your energy using uh, my own it framework. And you are going to really think about owning your whole health, right? Body, soul, spirit. It's like when you surrendered to Jesus, when you gave your life to him and you turned away from your old way of living, right? Owning your health is essentially saying that you are turning away from the way you used to view your health, all the noise in your head, the confusion, the non-answers, right? Your how you would view your whole health, body, mind, and spirit, and you recognize that it's all connected and that God's design is for you to be well, to be in good health. And that means good energy. That doesn't mean dragging yourself out of bed every morning and slothing through the day. So you took this time to show up, and I am so glad that you are ready to engage to get this full experience. So make sure you have a notebook or paper handy. Tonight, in the next hour, you will discover the keys to gaining energy and reducing your stress levels. So, this is where you can tell me in the chat, are you having brain fog, belly bloating, fighting daily tiredness? Is your sleep trash? And you just kind of wake up feeling tired every morning. Tell me in the chat. I know for me, like the brain fog and that daily fatigue was so thick. It was so heavy for me. Like I felt like I was wearing a wet blanket, like a heavy wet blanket over me every single day. And I would wake up with minimal energy and then I would crash by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Brain fog is getting better. Really tired every day. Bloating. Sometimes waking up around 4 a.m., dragging in the afternoon. Yeah, and getting better. Awesome. Awesome, Liz. That's great. Yeah, and these are very, very uh common But if you've been listening to me for any length of time, just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. So we want to address that, right? It doesn't have to be your lot in life for sure. So congratulations, because tonight you are going to see the solution, and that is simply a framework with a foundational focus. So I'm so glad you're here tonight. And again, if you don't know me, I am Michelle McCoy. I'm a fatigue expert, board certified functional and holistic health coach, wife of 33 years, mom to now 4 adult kids, but not a grandma yet. I am so impatiently waiting to become a nana. And I have been in the wellness space for 12 years. I was drawn into holistic health 22 years ago when our daughter was very sick and conventional medicine failed her as patient and us as her parents. So I'm not going to go into the big long story. You can hear it on the podcast and shoot me a message if you want to hear the exact episode because I'm blanking. I've had it for so long. But basically, she was being poked and prodded and tested and medicated and just a whole lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall and guessing. And I literally left the state to find answers, and I found them through holistic health, and it changed my life. And when we learn something that is so life changing, we can't go back, right? We can't go back to the old way. And that's part of what I want to encourage you tonight to do. Like, just we're gonna forget the old person, right? I forget where in the Bible it says that, but we are new creation. And the thing is too, it was her that was my starting point, but I've also gone through my own couple of health crises myself. And maybe I've been where you are tonight, working a ton, caring for aging parents, caring for a family. We actually were caring for a family member who had Alzheimer's disease, and that's a whole other level of caretaking, navigating just so many life changes. We went through a lot of family changes and stressors and being part of the sandwich generation, right? Do you know what the sandwich generation is? You might still have kids at home, or what I call boomerang kids. They leave for college, they come back. They leave, they graduate college, they come back. They're like boomerang kids and they keep coming back for a season. And you've also got the aging parents. So it's just very, very stressful when we're in these life situations. And I burnt out. Basically, I just was going, doing all the things and wearing myself out in the process. And I want you to hear me on this. It wasn't so obvious that something was wrong with me. I looked fine on the outside. Yeah, I looked tired because that's kind of hard to fake sometimes, right? But I was functioning. I was functioning barely, but I was functioning. I was still going to work every day. I was still dragging my butt out of bed. I was doing it. I was doing the things. But, I on the inside, I was falling apart. And I would be crying on the way to work, crying on the way home because I was so exhausted and I didn't know how to fix it. And I wasn't getting help and I wasn't getting answers. And finally, when I did get some answers, I just got like a counter full of supplements and I was left on my own for another 6 months. So hear me when I say, if you are feeling any of these symptoms, I understand. And if you are bone weary, exhausted, head to toe exhausted, you want to pay attention to what your body is telling you because it will lead to your burnout. So God has shown me through my years of coaching women, especially women in the midlife season, that we must slow down to sustain our health. You might want to write that down. Slow down to sustain health. He has shown me that going back to the basics is really where health can grow because there's too much noise in the women's wellness space, right? Too much noise, too much confusion. And you are here tonight because you are ready to own your health. You are tired of staying status quo. You're tired of the same old health merry-go-round of telling your doctor symptoms, getting a pat answer that all your labs are great, but you still go on feeling tired, achy, and foggy. You know something's not right. So trust your God-given instincts for you and your health as you determine right now that tonight is the night you own it. You are your own best advocate for your health. And I love the definition that Webster's 1828 dictionary gives to the definition of own. It's simply belonging to. So on your piece of paper, write down, I will own my health with God. Because everything we do with the Lord, hand in hand, right by our side. I will own my health with God. And so tonight, let's just take a minute and just go to Him in prayer. Father God, we just thank you for this time. We just thank you for these women that are here live and also that will hear on the replay, that they are here because they love you and they want to honor you by treasuring their temple and taking better care of themselves. And Lord, this world has been so noisy. So I pray that in the next 50 minutes, Lord, that you will just keep all distractions at a minimum, that there will be no tech issues, that there will be no issues at all, and that, Lord, you will speak so carefully and so sweetly to each and every woman here tonight. Speak through me, Father. May the words that come out of my mouth be your words. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, so in my coaching, as my clients' need determine, I will do some digging. I'm a digger, and I will get to the root cause while keeping things simple and doable. The way nutrition and lifestyle used to be before the internet like flooded us all with the shiny objects that keep women from actually making real progress in their wellness. So think of the starts and the stops, the trial and error. Part of that is normal life, right? But we get caught up. We just get caught up. And I believe God is wanting his daughters to know, come down to the foundational basics of wellness. Okay, these shiny objects, the newest supplement, the weight loss craze, the pharmaceuticals, the avoidance of the fundamentals, the basics, the essentials, the foundation. They are what is keeping us from building long-term sustainable health, which, by the way, leads to generational health. Who wants generational health? Yes, exactly. We want a lasting legacy of health for our children, our grandbabies, the babies yet to be born, our great grandbabies. Like, we want a lasting legacy. We don't want to repeat what was the generation above us if it wasn't great. And a lot of times we will own that. We will own a diagnosis in our family. And I'm just encouraging you tonight to strip that away. That's not your lot in life. So tonight I am going to be sharing 3 out of the 5 parts of my Own It Energy framework. This is a framework that is going to help you build out your own foundational focus in your health. And before we see the solution, though, we need to recognize what the problem is. So I would say that largely a huge problem to a lot of your symptoms is stress. Who here would say that you are currently experiencing a higher level of stress just because we're right smack in the holiday season? Pop that in the chat. And then, yeah, exactly. I mean, it really doesn't even matter. I used to think when, the kids are older, it'll calm down or it'll get easier. When the kids are gone, it'll be easier. No, it's just a different type of stress, right? So, okay, out of you who said, who would say that you have become used to feeling stressed? You feel like that's kind of your MO, right? Yeah, even without Thanksgiving in Australia. Yeah, true. That's true. We get used to feeling stressed. Yes. Yep. Oh, yes. And see, during the busy holiday season, a big problem for professional women is stress because it's more stress than normal on an already stressed body and brain, which greatly affects the nervous system. I mean, we have end of the year deadlines, we've got financial goals and different things, and it's just an extra layer of stress in a time that's supposed to be, full of joy, right? Let's see. You've worked a lot on your stress, but still have some I need to work on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the body is so brilliantly created, right? God created your nervous system and my nervous system with wisdom and intention. So pay attention. Out of everything you take away tonight, pay attention to your body's signals and cues. Okay. That constant exhaustion, that constant brain fog, it means something. It's not your lot in life. Okay. It's a symptom and a signal that your body is trying to tell you. So God created our nervous system. And within that, we have two main gears. We have the sympathetic nervous system. This is your fight, flight, or freeze mode, or fawn, but usually we're in fight, flight, or freeze. This is designed for those emergencies, right? Floods our body with cortisol. It increases our heart rate. Maybe our heart is just beating out of its chest, right? It tightens our muscles. It's redirecting energy away from digestion and hormone balance, which is why sometimes when you are so stressed out and you eat a steak, you feel horrible because your digestion has slowed way down. And then there's the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest mode. This is where healing can really begin. This is where hormones start to balance, nutrients get absorbed, your sleep gets more restorative, which is what we want. Inflammation lowers. This is cellular support. But here's the thing. If I were to ask you right now, after a long day today, where do you think you've been hanging out today? Have you been in fight, flight, or freeze mode today, or a little on high alert? Or have you been calm and chill and relaxed? Because most of us are living in this sympathetic dominant state. But here's the thing. When we live in this sympathetic state, when we live in chronic fear, stress, anxiety, worry, overwhelm, even if it's kind of low grade where you've gotten used to it, where you feel like it's your new normal, your body stays stuck in that sympathetic mode. And it's on high alert for you to keep you protected. Which means that you're always on edge. Your cortisol is always pumping. And eventually your adrenals, they just can't keep up. And so it's a slow fade. And your adrenals are using up all the cortisol. And then you have nothing left. High cortisol consistently, if it's consistently pumping out high, it will lead to low cortisol. And that's what happened to me with my burnout. And it's stage 3 adrenal dysfunction or adrenal fatigue, however you want to say it. That's exactly what happened to me. Your body's stress response is so on. Do you ever feel like you're just on? Like I have to be on all the time, right? And maybe like you're humming because you're so on edge. I don't know. That was what came to my mind when I was going through that. I just felt like I was at a constant hum. I couldn't relax, it's hard to explain, but if you've been there, you know. And even though, again, hear me on this, even though you look put together on the outside and you keep pushing through and you think you're okay because you're surviving, you're getting through and you made it to bed and then you get to get up and do it again the next day, your body is suffering. And what does that look like? You might crash in the afternoons. I've had some clients that are telling me by 10:30 in the morning, they could use a nap. They're that drained. They have a high spike and then they're crashing. You might really need a nap by 2 p.m. You might have racing heartbeat. skipping heartbeat. You might feel more emotional. You might feel wired but tired at night. You're exhausted and you lay down and your mind will not shut off. You might have extra weight gain around your belly. You might have those hormonal swings. There are so many, many more symptoms. But tell me in the chat, are you experiencing any of these symptoms at all? And let me check out the chat, see what's going on. Yeah. Mm. Since childhood. Yeah. We always need to be continuing to work towards helping our body be more in harmony for sure. It's never a one and done because life is, this side of heaven, life is going to be hard, have hard moments for sure. This is the amazing thing, though, is that God designed your body and my body to return to peace, to that parasympathetic dominant state of being, not doing, being. That rest and digest and repair. You're not meant to stay in this exhausted state, this stressed out state. You're not meant to be there. And this consistent stress is really affecting your adrenals and your hormones, even if, and again, this is so important, you don't feel like you are overstressed. Because often my clients will tell me after the stressful situation passes that now they are physically feeling the effects. And they're like, I don't understand. Like, it's done. It's over. Why am I now struggling? Because we can't take away all the stress, right? But we can certainly reduce the amount of stress that your body is under and how it affects you on a physiological level and how you perceive stress. If we can perceive it differently, that makes a difference too. Like if we perceive it differently, and I'll get into that. I was just talking with a client about this yesterday on her call because we literally had to stop and ask for this situation, is this an emergency or is it an urgency? You may want to write that down because this is going to help you with your own stressful situations. Is this an emergency? Is somebody in a car accident, for example? And I hate to use that, but that's an example that we all like are flooded into high alert when we hear that. Or is it an urgency, meaning I'm going to be late to my dentist appointment? Their traffic is so heavy. Big difference. Big difference. And so we took a few moments yesterday to talk it through so she was better armed and she could help her body to calm down. Perception is a thought or a point of view. So how we perceive the stress that we are under determines how our body will react and respond to that stress. Is it an emergency or an urgency? Because there really is a difference. If you are always feeling like you are in that fight, flight, or freeze mode, your body is always feeling like there's a lion chasing after you or a bear, and it wears down every single area of your body and our brain, really. And our ancestors, they used to have stressful situations, right? They were literally being chased by a bear or a lion, but they had the ability to let their body recover. They could repair. But nowadays, and we love technology, and yet it's been a big part of added stress. I think we all could admit that. So we're like in this constant state of stress. If you think about it, maybe somebody asked you or you asked somebody, how have you been? And the answer was stressed. A lot of women are almost wearing busy as a badge of honor, but we're also wearing stressed as a badge of honor. I'm stressed, but I'm getting through. I'm maintaining. That used to be me. I used to say, I'm maintaining. I'm surviving. God wants more for us. He doesn't want us just surviving and maintaining. So again, with with the sandwich generation, or just the stress of our career and our family and keeping our marriage alive, and like I said, the boomerang adult kids, whatever. It's just nonstop. There's so much. So you must take time to allow your body to recover from the specific stressful situation. But it starts now, not when you're in the middle of the fire and you can't see your way out. So, daily intentional steps to support yourself, mind, body, and soul. And again, I was having this conversation with somebody else in the Midlife Health Makeover. She was talking about her physical symptoms after have gone through a long period of stress. This is a different person. We were discussing for her hair loss. And by the time we were having this conversation, that by the time we notice that there's hair loss, we're not really sure why, because our stressful situation's been over with. But it really takes about 6 months. We can start losing hair 6 months after a stressful event, a tragic event, trauma. Like the body's still reacting, but that's just one example of how we might not notice it until later. So the body is greatly affected from how we perceive stress and how long we are in that stressful situation, which is why I personally reached burnout and stage 3 adrenal fatigue after living in a 3-year fire, that fiery trial that our family was under. And I know that high achieving, go-getter, busy doer women, they tend to wear one or all four of these mindsets. Perfectionist. See if how you relate here. Placing unrealistic expectations on yourself, or people pleaser, not setting boundaries, push through, getting things done, smiling on the outside, but dying or crying a little bit on the inside. Yeah. Protection, controlling, you struggle with trust, you struggle with delegating. It's really hard for you to show vulnerability. And putting on these mindsets keep us sad, sick, and stuck, and certainly not free. And God wants more for us as his daughters. And I have been every one of them, every one of them, and still have tendencies. So this is, again, none of this is a one and done. This is like a day by day, moment by moment sometimes. Do you remember Martha? Remember how she was so busy and she was so anxious about everything? Like, wave at me if you can relate to Martha, because so Martha. But I'm trying to be Mary. God is showing me how to be more like Mary, and that's great. Like, there's so much freedom in being more like Mary. But she was doing all the things, and then Jesus told her, like, hey, you're worried and upset about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. And, I believe that a big part of why she was so anxious and upset is because she didn't want to disappoint Jesus. Like, imagine if he was coming to your home. I'd want things almost perfect too, if I could, right? The food wouldn't be ready on time. It wouldn't be like she wanted it, and why is her sister not helping? And all of this stuff. I mean, she was putting on a dinner party with Jesus as the guest of honor. So I want to give her some slack and give her some grace. And at the same time, encourage you that as you're planning your own holiday parties and gatherings and travel time and everything, yeah, there's work to be done. But perhaps some things can look a little differently this year, especially if you are feeling very drained, if you are feeling like your stress is higher, and you're just not feeling like you want to feel. And that can include lack of joy. So type in the chat if any of this is resonating with you. And if you are like waking up already tired, if you're struggling with more recall and you're not feeling as sharp as you used to, if you're feeling like you're on higher alert and seemingly small things are really bothering you more lately. Oh, yeah, you crashed last December. You're exhausted all the time, and it started about 30 years ago. Wow. Oh, yeah, Kathy, we need to talk. Crashed last December. I've spent the year working on all these things. Cortisol still high and hormones low, adrenal stress. Yes, yes. Good, good that you're continuing to work through that. Yes. Most of those mindsets. I know it's easy, right, Liz? It's so easy to have those mindsets. Um, I think we just naturally have them. But once we know about it, then we can take it to the Lord always, first and foremost, but then, help ourselves to feel safer. Because I believe a big part of those mindsets are it's a control thing. But that's a whole other conversation. So we are going to give you a solution tonight that you can implement right away. You can begin this tonight because why wait? You are here because you want change and you want a solution to your stress. You want a solution to the exhaustion that you are feeling, right? And honestly, I really could spend a whole hour. I mean, look, we've already spent 30 minutes talking about stress. I could go the whole hour talking about stress because it's so prevalent. But you are ready to own your health in this midlife season and own your energy through the holidays because you've decided enough is enough. So let's get really specific here, okay? I am going to go over three of the five Own It Energy framework. And so these are foundational. So grab your piece of paper and write OWN. O stands for optimize hydration. W stands for whole food nutrition. And N is nourishing restorative sleep. All of these will help with your stress. So don't feel like, okay, but I want to know more about my stress. All of these are going to help with your stress in doable, practical, tangible ways. When you physically start feeling better, the way you perceive stress starts to change. Okay. So everything's connected between the brain and the body. The brain's communicating to the body, vice versa. There's a whole communication chain going on. Sometimes it's blocked. That's a whole other conversation. But this is where we are going to get really practical. So the first one is O, and that's optimize hydration. So we're going to kind of get really reflective here in the next few minutes. No judgment, no guilt, no beating yourself up. Okay. This is just data. This is just information. So a lot of women come to me feeling like I'm not dehydrated. I drink plenty of water. And that may be true, but is the water truly getting into your cells? Is it getting into you on a cellular level? It might not be. So a lot of actually I just did the numbers a couple of months ago, and it was 10 out of 10 women that I test through my urine analysis. They're dehydrated on a cellular level, and they drink half their body weight in ounces. So these are not women that are like, I don't drink water. They drink water. They're still dehydrated on a cellular level. And that causes brain fog. It causes more fatigue. So we don't want to skimp on hydration. And you can have water, sparkling or sparkling waters or herbal teas to help keep you stay hydrated without like added sugar and additives and all of that, because that's all going to drag your energy levels down too. But more than likely, you need minerals to help you with energy. So keep it simple, right? A pinch of Celtic sea salt. Or if you only have pink Himalayan, do that. Add a good squeeze, healthy squeeze of fresh lemon. That's going to give you vitamin C. It's also going to give you, the combination is going to give you good minerals. It's like a natural electrolyte. But if you want to have an electrolyte, you can have a good quality electrolyte. No artificial sweeteners in that though. And these can be things so I used to be that afternoon coffee drinker, right? So this would be a switch for you. If you tend to drink coffee around 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, this would be a good time for you to grab an electrolyte or grab hot lemon water. That's very refreshing if it's cold out, but that can be something where you can make that healthy switch. Because again, you might think you're drinking enough, but you're really not. Or you might simply be truly dehydrated on a cellular level, which is going to cause not only fatigue and brain fog, but headaches, migraines, and cravings, even. Like you can actually crave more if you're not hydrated. So we're going to stop here and we're going to pause. And I want you to think about, do I drink enough water each day? And then how much water do you drink each day? So I want you to think of a stoplight. We've got, red, yellow, green, stoplight. So if you want to draw a stoplight on your paper, if you like to draw, you can do that too. But we're going to use this stoplight as a guide. Where would you say you are in your hydration using this guide? Red means I'm not doing so well with this. Yellow is I'm kind of in between red and green. I could definitely use improvement. And then green is I'm doing pretty well. I feel really hydrated. So we're just going to take a few minutes. I want you to jot down all the things that you drank today. Just put it all down on your paper. And after you've done that, add up the ounces of water that you've had up till right now. And then you can use the stoplight to kind of gauge where are you in your hydration levels. We're going to take 2 or 3 minutes. I was going to try to play some music for you, but it's not working. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be kind of enlightening, right? I know I'm doing all this with you too. So I was like, I really did not feel like I got enough water today. And I actually do feel thirsty right now because I've been in like heads down mode today. So, but adding it all up, counting tea, I can count herbal tea. So you can count your herbal teas because there's no caffeine in that. That can count as hydration. I actually did get my amount in today, even though my body's telling me I need more. So, um, there are some holiday pitfalls that can come with this, right? Because when we are celebrating, when we're traveling, we tend to get more dehydrated. We tend to make different choices, right? We tend to drink more coffee. We tend to have maybe more wine in the evenings or during the day, depending on what we're doing, where we're celebrating, how we're celebrating. So, some good ways to do, to combat that is to start each day with a glass of water, like a glass of lemon water. Room temperature or cool, fresh lemons are great. It's a refreshing way to start the day. And I want you to hear me in your head. Water before coffee. I want that to be your thought process, just always, forever and always. because you're dehydrated from sleeping, whether you slept well or not. And we're going to get to sleep, don't worry. You're dehydrated from sleeping. So water before coffee. And a good way to do this to help like muscle memory, right? And just to train yourself is to get a glass of water or get a glass, put it out by the coffee pot and keep it on the counter. And that's going to help you with easy habit change. And just keep things simple, right? Or keep a flavored, like a pitcher of flavored water in the refrigerator, especially if you like it cool and it keeps things fresh. Right now, oh my goodness, you could do like cranberries, you could do rosemary sprigs with cranberries. What else? Oh, like orange slices, things like that. That'd be really fun. And that'd be a good way for you to get some really good hydration in there, especially if you get kind of tired of plain water. Another tip is set a phone reminder to sip every hour. And I don't mean sip, I mean gulp. I don't know why I said sip. I mean gulp. Because if you really need to make sure you're getting water in, take 10 big gulps of water every hour. That'll help you so much. And then you can swap out soda if you're a soda drinker for sparkling water if you're used to having that carbonation. Um, and then, like I said before, add a pinch of sea salt to your water for that boost of minerals. It's not supposed to taste salty, so don't put so much salt in there that you're like, oh, I'm drinking ocean water. It's not supposed to be salty, okay? And again, cutting down on the additional caffeine, that's going to give your adrenals so much more support. You're going to feel so much better just by that. If you drink coffee in the afternoon, if you can make that switch to something else, that's going to help reduce the stress on your adrenals. Okay, now we're at W. Whole food nutrition. Eating whole foods, nutrient-dense foods, helps to stabilize your blood sugars along with giving you steady energy, which we all want. When we're eating processed or ultra-processed foods that are high in sugar, simple carbs cause blood sugar spikes and crashes. We've all felt it. We've all been there where we've had a blood sugar drop and a crash, and it makes us feel like garbage, right? And it gives us more fatigue, more if we're having a constant roller coaster, more brain fog. It causes more stress on our body and our brain. Again, it's connected. But whole food is what the body recognizes whole food. Processed foods drain energy. So just think of that's an energy drain for the mind as well. Okay. The body and the brain need good energy to function and to focus. We've all been there when we inadvertently skipped breakfast, lunch, and then realized at 4 p.m., oh my goodness, I haven't eaten all day. And your brain is so foggy and you're so exhausted. And then you go to the break room or your kitchen if you work from home and you grab the first thing you see. That could be anything, right? If you have a candy dish out, that could be. So we want to simplify meals during the holiday season, keep it simple during the holidays. Oh my goodness. So even if you're not having company over, you still want to be focusing on whole food, nutrient dense dishes. Well, what do I mean? I mean like protein, lots of protein, roasted vegetables, healthy fats. Fat is not the enemy. Bad fat is the enemy, but healthy fat like avocados, good fat, and complex carbohydrates. This is going to help you to avoid the carb coma. Okay, we don't want a carb coma. So utilize, especially because you can look at your calendar and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got this and this and this every single night. Planning ahead on the weekend, the best that you can using your crock pot, your Instapot, and batch cooking on the weekends. That's going to help your week go so much calmer. I mean, really, why add more stress to your day with the whole what's for dinner question, right? Which I feel like we've always had that question in our brain from the minute we got married. What's for dinner? We're constantly thinking about food. So I want to stop a minute and I know we're running low on time, but I still think this is important. Where do you feel like you are on the stoplight for whole food nutrition? Again, red is I'm not doing so well with this. Yellow's kind of in between red and green. I could use improvement. And green is I'm doing pretty well with this. Jot down everything you ate today and assess your normal nutrition with the stoplight. And you are not allowed to judge yourself, shame yourself, or guilt yourself. This is just data. The actions that you and I take are a choice, and we all have natural consequences for the choices we make, whether positive or negative. So we'll just take just a few minutes. Checking out the chat while you guys are doing that. Oh, yeah, push through mode. Yes. Okay, green. Good, very good. Oh, okay. So you've had a urinalysis test done. Okay, good. Yep, very good. Okay, so I want to read 1 Corinthians 6:12. 1 Corinthians 6:12 says, I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. So that's just a good verse that I'd love to go back to help me remember, okay, I can make a choice. I'm an adult. I can choose whatever I want to do, but there are consequences, you know? And for me, certain things it's not I'm not happening. It's not happening. I'm not going to eat that, period, because my consequences have been so severe, it's not worth it. So other things I'm like, okay, well, maybe a little. So with holiday focus here, think about your office in the office with all the stuff that's coming in, or and that is a blessing for those of us that work from home. Like we can kind of control that a little bit better. But when you're going to parties and office dinners and work things and events and all that, it is really tempting to throw caution to the wind and just eat whatever you want because there's typically always vendors coming in or there's Christmas cookies that just appear, all of these things, right? It's very tempting, chocolates. But just think of this verse, 1 Corinthians 6:12. I can make this choice, but is it the best choice for me if I'm already drained? If I'm already exhausted. And do you just think about that? Is this what can be a better choice? Maybe a better choice would be using the 3 bite rule, right? We don't need to eat the whole piece of pie. We can just have 3 bites and call it good. As long as you are savoring it and you're actually enjoying it, you know, the pleasure sensors in our brain actually turn off after 3 or 4 bites. But when we're just mindlessly eating, I mean, then we look up and we're like, oh, I didn't even really taste it. Let me go get another slice, you know? So you can just take that. That can be a nice, like at events and parties and luncheons, dinners. First, don't go hungry, okay? Just try to keep that down, where you're in control of that. But then you want to always focus on protein and then vegetables, fruit, whatever's there, right? There's usually a veggie tray or cheese tray or something like that. But then before you hit the desserts, just wait, just take a pause, just take 15 minutes and just see if you really do need that, if you really do want that, and then simply choose just one item. And this matters. Why whole food matters is because when we eat whole food, our body recognizes that. And it keeps our blood sugar stable and it supports our mood and it actually reduces binge eating. So that's a very real problem when women are stressed. So um if you do get there, you've eaten before you go so that if you get there, there's not much that you can eat or want to eat or just doesn't look good or you just know it's not the best, it's not going to make you feel great, no harm then because you ate before you went. Now that's easier said than done, so it's good to always carry something with you, always pack a lunch, all these kinds of things. But you always want to try to be that Girl Scout and always be prepared, even if you were never a Girl Scout. Like I was never a Girl Scout. So just like bring a really good healthy protein bar just in case you kind of get stuck with what am I going to eat? So food is medicine or poison. It's just that simple. But here is where women tend to get it wrong when they are trying in their own strength to whatever, fill in the blank, lose weight, regain energy, help their numbers, their cholesterol numbers come down, reduce their pain. They keep God out of their health and they don't trust themselves to do what needs to be done to facilitate recovery and healing. And so, as daughters of the King, we approach everything differently, right? Including and especially our health, body, mind, and spirit. We have to approach everything differently, and we own our health with God at the center. This was foundational for me in my own healing. And because of that, it's foundational in my coaching. And so I'm going to take a minute and talk about Jenny, who is 67 years old. She is retired in name only because she is a go-getter woman, man. She is running an Airbnb. She runs a farm with her husband. She volunteers a few days a week. She works still 2 days a week, and she's consistently volunteering at church. She would have it no other way. But when she came to me, she had extreme fatigue. She literally needed to take naps on her days off, long naps too. She had severe joint pain and brain fog, and she was starting to get worried and it was affecting her relationships. So, in the first 7 days, Jenny reported to me that she did not need a nap. First 7 days of us working together. In 14 days, her afternoon energy levels were so much improved, even after a day of gardening and cleaning the Airbnb. 10 weeks in, she sent me this message. I have been feeling almost 60% pain-free. Overall, I can function without fatigue and I only hurt when I overdo it. And within 12 weeks, Jenny, working inside the Midlife Health Restore, she had hit all of her goals from when we started. She wanted to reduce her fatigue, get rid of her brain fog, and be pain-free. And she was able to go hiking right around that 12-week mark on a big vacation, which was very, very big of a concern for her when we first started. She's like, I'm going hiking. I don't want to drag people down. And she was able to do that. Now you have to understand something about Jenny. When we started working together, she couldn't stand straight up. She was in so much pain, she was hunched over. And so she could barely walk after work because her energy was so low and her pain was so high. She shares her amazing transformation on the podcast on episode 328. So if you have not caught that, go catch that because it's incredible. And in a little bit, you are going to have the opportunity to also come inside Midlife Health Restore for an unbelievably small investment. Let's go to number 3, N, nourishing restorative sleep. Why does this matter? Why do we need good sleep? Because it supports our immune health, our immune function. It regulates stress hormones. This is the time where our brain detoxes and it's able to repair. And, we really feel it when our sleep is off. Our brain is fuzzier. It's harder to get out of bed. We struggle with moving through the day-to-day tasks. And restorative sleep is one of the 7 essentials of optimal health that I help my clients achieve because it's that important. I don't care how many times I hear, well, I can function on 4 hours of sleep. You're not functioning. Your body and brain are greatly affected by that. You may be like I was functioning barely, but you're functioning. And so you think you're okay. But sleep is so, so important. And just within like 4 weeks of being inside Restore, Danielle reports that she was able to go from waking up every 2 hours to now she's waking up 4 hours. That's like double improvement. Like she's getting 2 hours extra sleep now before she wakes up. And that was a big concern for her. So that is a huge win. And I'm not going to take the time to review like sleep supplements, but um, that is definitely something else that we could talk about as well. Holiday struggles for sleep are going to be staying up late watching movies, scrolling social media, having travel schedules that are kind of wonky and crazy. So you want to create a calming bedtime routine to help wind yourself down. And part of that can involve meditating on God's word, going to the Psalms to calm you before you go to bed. So just take 1 minute here and think about using the stoplight, red, yellow, or green. Where are you in your sleep? Not doing so well? Kind of in between? Doing pretty well? Yeah, she did come on. It was such a great story. Yeah, she did so amazing. And what was so great about her too, Jenny, is that she's local. I mean, so I see her. I could see her in person, and I got to physically see her transformation, especially with the walking, standing upright. Oh my goodness. So that was huge. Close to green. Good. Yellow. Yeah. The elusive sleep. Waking up around 4. Okay. Oh, yeah. Very, very well could be a blood sugar issue. Yes. And often women wake between 1 and 4 consistently. That's usually a blood sugar or liver issue. Something's going on. If you can't go back to sleep after you get up to go to the bathroom, that's usually something else is going on. Okay, so do you see how taking control over your health helps you to ultimately take control over how you feel? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, day in and day out. So this own it energy framework is how burned out women, like maybe you feel right now, can reclaim their bodies without burning out again. They are reclaiming their health by owning their health. So feel free to unmute. How was this helpful? Feel free to unmute and um, anybody that wants to share anything, how was this helpful for you? You can either type in the chat or unmute. And what has been your breakthrough tonight as we have gone through the 3 parts of the Own It Energy Framework? I know that God is such a God of detail and order, and He knows exactly what we need. And sometimes digging really deep into our health creates more overwhelm and confusion, especially if we don't have someone to guide us and walk with us through the journey. And I mean, I got to tell you, that's exactly how I felt. And I don't want anybody ever else to feel that way again because it's a lonely place to be when you're getting non-answers or pat answers or asking for things and you're not getting them, like asking for specific labs, for example, and you just feel like you're on your own island. And that's a lonely place to be. And that's, I really believe, why we turn to Dr. Google, because we're just trying to figure it out. We're just trying to figure this all out. So there is more to the framework, and we go into them inside Midlife Health Restore. But my prayer is that tonight you have seen how you don't need to let outside circumstances like stress control you, that you partnering with your creator can truly help your body restore and get back to a place it never should have left. And that's good health. But with life, that happens. But we get to decide how we want to feel. We get to decide how we want to celebrate the holidays right now. Do we want to celebrate in a fog of fatigue or with energy that will last through the weekend, right? So, Liz, I see you unmuted. Do you want to share something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, I think seeing maybe like stress is one of the like main contributors to the symptoms, etc., is one of the things that I guess I found so helpful. And like, I've even on more like holistic health ends of things rather than say the medical system, I've done tests and I've tried protocols and whatever. And at least like I feel like I've come to that place of realizing, I think stress is having the most impact. And so it's those then like yeah, not doing anything too big or stressful to try and address the problems, and actually limiting the amount of maybe like research and stuff that I'm doing because it only
Mm,
contributes to the
mhm.
stress. And yeah, and so that's why like some of these things maybe might seem small or basic, but they're things that we can do. And sometimes it's the small basic things that make the biggest difference. Um, yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think you obviously have been there and get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
more
resonate
times
with a
than
lot of
I
what you shared.
want. Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
and you sent me a beautiful message yesterday. So, do you want to share how your experience inside Midlife Health Restore has been for you?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it, um, has been about kind of, recognizing that um, my body does need that support in I guess resting or taking it a bit easier or and just um, rather than seeing my need for you know rest and that kind of thing as like a weakness, but seeing it as you know um, something that needs to be like respected,
Love that.
and to not uh, I guess I could force myself, particularly like, when we're thinking about the holidays and stuff, I would say it's those kinds of things, it's things where I need to, a lot of people interaction and stuff that drain me the most, like have a shorter bandwidth for that, a smaller capacity, I would say, than say sitting on my own doing my work.
Right.
So like my mind can go for longer than my socializing can go. Um, but yeah, I think feeling like I can actually like uh own that, like, and be like, you know what, that there is a limit to my um my capacity to do
Yeah.
certain things. And so I know that if it's a busy time coming up with, like actually needing to go to the office more for events or like like bigger family events or whatever, that I'm gonna have to add in these small pockets of things that rest my body and nourish my body. And that has actually made like a really big difference. So yeah.
Yeah, these sacred pauses that just allowing yourself. Um, you said like respect. I love that. Respect for your need to rest. It's not a weakness. And Jesus modeled this
Mhm.
so beautifully. And I think it honestly clicked with me when I finally dug deep into the word. I'm like, okay. he really did model this for us. I almost like I got permission. Isn't that crazy? But it's true because when we are like feeling like, okay, well, I've always been the Energizer Bunny, so I have to always still be the Energizer Bunny. It's just how we
Mhm.
tend to be wired and we just keep going at the expense of ourselves. And I felt like when I dug into the word, I was like, oh, okay, Jesus modeled this for us because he created our bodies to need rest and he was fully God and fully man. So he understood the need for rest. So that I think that was very pivotal for me, recognizing that it's okay. And you put it so beautifully, just respecting your need for rest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I kind of thought, oh, I'm like my life isn't overcommitted, maybe in other seasons of my life I did have more commitments that I'm doing, but I'm mid-30s, my kids are still really young, like as in
Mhm.
haven't even started school yet. So, my my outside commitments is very pared down in this
Mm.
season.
Mhm.
So yeah, part of me goes, oh, I'm not trying to do too much, whatever. But it's you're realizing that my body still needs me to take small pauses, and
Mhm.
and it doesn't. And I think um the things that tell your stress levels or tell your nervous system, tell my body that I'm safe is the small things that I do regularly rather than thinking like, I need an hour or two to myself or
Yeah.
something like that. But it's actually like, 5 minutes, like, yeah, even like 5 minutes lying down or 5 minutes stepping outside on the grass,
Yes. Yes.
um, 5 minutes to just notice. Like I've now noticed, even though I live in suburbia, that's not very green, there's actually so many different bird calls. There must be so many different birds living
Oh,
around me. I now notice that. Like
love that.
like you'll notice the different trees or notice whatever. So
Yeah.
um, it's those really small, like micro things um, during the day that reset. Um, yeah, more than, not that I'm ever really been a go get my nails done and go for a massage person, but I think some
Right.
people do think it needs to be something like
Sure.
bigger like that. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's been some good mindset work that we've worked through. And because everybody's coming in at a different level, right? Of where, what they want to focus on. But by getting in and focusing on what's foundational for you doesn't mean it's the same as for somebody else, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. And that's why we don't do one size
Yeah.
fits all at Treasured Wellness. We don't.
It's still so helpful. Like I know one of the other girls was sharing, like for her, the foundational thing is really around nutrition. And so like I already, have, know quite a lot like about nutrition or whatever. Like it's just, yeah. But like, just her way of then approaching and having to and thinking about it. And like I get takeaways from that I apply to other things like stress management. She was sharing something about, focusing on the small changes in what she was eating and drinking rather than focusing on like her weight and the scales, etc. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to, like I just for me, like I had then like a revelation of I need to stop thinking about like, oh, but I've still been feeling stressed and be like, no, but what daily steps have I been doing that's going to be getting me to a place where hopefully one day I will feel less stressed. But I know that even while I'm doing these daily things, that is actually helping my nervous system, just as
Absolutely.
her daily food and drink choices are helping her body, even if she does or doesn't see changes on the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, even though everyone's focusing on different things, we're still like learning from each other, which is just something you don't get on your own when you're doing all the research on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you just feel more lost. You just feel more lost. And so yeah, that's when, when God told me to do this a couple of months ago, I was like, yeah, like, why didn't I do this before? Like, we need to get back to the basics. We need to be into these foundational because there's so much confusion. And, that's what he's been showing me just in my quiet time really over the last 6 months specifically. Like, just help. He told me to teach my daughters. And now he's like, oh, hey, let's do the foundation because, we all need this. And I need this in other areas of my life. We all do. We all need to get back to the basics. This world is way too noisy. It's way too overwhelming. And we just need to get back to the basics and invite God into every single detail of our life and our health and everything. So, thank you for sharing that, Liz. And you know, like I promised you, and I know we're so over time. Thank you for hanging out with us still. But inside Midlife Health Restore, this is the group coaching program that Liz was talking about. And this is where you can start getting some answers that you've been searching for so that you can truly feel better in your whole health and maybe even start reversing some symptoms. Yes, let's reverse some symptoms that you've been told you just have to live with. And I was told that too. So, this is a great way for you to truly own your health with getting that micro win, that quick win within the first 7 days of more sustained energy in the afternoon, as an example, right? Um, Not feeling drowsy and you actually begin to wake up feeling rested and you don't have to hit the snooze. So, this is a great foundational framework where we're building out your foundational framework within 12 weeks without overwhelming diet mentality, energy sucking workouts without having guilt and stress and shame and just shifting your lifestyle habits to better serve you instead of steal from you. And we are reducing those inflammatory symptoms, right? Brain fog, joint pain, headaches, belly fat, approaching your stress differently. So this is for you because something is off in your health and you're not getting answers and you're tired of feeling tired and you're ready to actually feel good again and you want your brain back and you want your body back and you want your peace back and your joy back and you're really ready to own your health like the grown woman you are. And you know what? When you do that, your family will notice. And I'm hearing reports about that too. Like, oh yeah, my husband's like, what are you doing? You have more energy. Are you on a diet? No, not on a diet. We don't do diets over here. But you are going to own your stress, your energy, your sleep, your nutrition, all of it when you own your whole health. So there is a greater level of health than you may have thought was possible. And if you've been told that you just have to live with your symptoms, I just want you to know, first off, I'm sorry that you were told that way. And I was told that too. And that's not speaking life over us. And so we rebuke that, right? And we speak life over our health. But the way you are feeling right now, physically and emotionally, does not need to be the way you feel by Christmas. Can you believe Christmas is in 3 weeks? I can't believe it. Like to the day, it's in 3 weeks. So, how do you want to feel in 3 weeks? How do you want to feel in 2 weeks? How do you want to feel next week? You can jump in right now and you can start to see and feel the shift. Okay. So, again, um, we don't want to look at our health mountain and feel like it's too big. We want to speak to the mountain, right? Matthew 17:20. We want to speak to the mountain. We want to tell it to move, right? Let me find that real quick. Matthew 17:20. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you because with God, all things are possible. And so inside 12-week Midlife Health Restore, you get so many benefits. Like you get that group support, you get these foundational pieces that are necessary, you get these weekly implementation sessions along with restoration weeks, which are so vital. You get access to me. I know you. I know your name. I know what's going on with you. How many times have we done something and it's like you just feel like a number? So you're going to get improved health across the board. And one more testimonial, Gail she lost 8 pounds in 4 weeks. But even more important than that, she had constant inflammation around her hip that was causing so much pain. And as she reduced that toxic inflammation, not only did she lose a lot of inches and she lost the 8 pounds, but she was walking more. Again, she too struggled to stand up straight because of her pain when she walked. And so she has more of a pep in her step now. That's improvement that she could see and feel. And that's so important. You get these micro wins and they build up into these macro wins. And you can have that too. You can turn your yellow and red stoplights into green. So I know you were so ready. I am going to pop the link here that you can get inside. I'm going to put it in the chat. You don't have to wait. You can join tonight and get moving, get started. But if you have some questions and if you're not really sure about if this is what you need or if you want to go deeper in your health, we can get on a call to discuss that. I'm going to put the link in the chat for that as well. Now, this will say it is a Restore onboarding call. Just ignore that. Just you can still sign up for that if you need to get on a call. But I want to tell you that there is a Christmas bonus for everyone who joins Restore by December 12th. You will receive a bonus training where we will map out your personal 12-week health plan. This is going to give you that foundational focus because we're not just going to willy-nilly it. We're going to do a foundational focus with a 12-week health plan. So I'm extending the enrollment time because it's Christmas time and but don't wait. If you know this is for you, don't wait. Come in now. Come in right away. They say don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. I say don't put off what your body's been asking for. Your body's been asking to restore. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I pray that this was so helpful for you. I pray that you were supported and blessed tonight. And does anybody have any questions? I don't mind staying on a little bit longer if anybody has questions.
No, but thank you. That was great, really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys soon. Have a great night.